Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Wiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less to grow your business. Today our guest is Michelle PW. When she was only 3 years old, she taught herself to read simply because she wanted to write stories so badly. And as you can imagine, writing has been a driving passion throughout her life. She became a professional copywriter, which is writing promotional materials for businesses, and that led her to founding a copywriting and marketing company that serves clients all over the world. She's the author of best-selling Lovebased business series, and these include the Lovebased Copy, Lovebased Online Marketing, and Lovebased Money and Mindset. These books share how you can sell more with love and build a solid, profitable business on a foundation of love versus a foundation of fear. The last book in that series, Lovebased Goals, was just released on December 5th of 2017. In addition, she's also a best-selling fiction writer. She's published 2 psychological thriller suspense mystery novels and has a new 3-book series due out the summer of 2018. She holds a double major in English and Communications from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Currently, she lives in the mountains of Prescott, Arizona, with her husband, Paul, and southern squirrel hunter, Cassie. Yeah. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'm really excited. I love what you do, and I know I've been in some of your programs, and it's so unique and different, so I'm really excited to get into the meat of it. But before we go there, I'd like to ask if you could please describe a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success.
So really, there's been a lot of them. And I think one that I think would be helpful is really doing the shift between having a freelance business. I was a freelancer. That's how I started things off as a freelance copywriter. And then I had to make the shift to owning a copywriting company, which is what I do now. And the biggest thing that I had to do, and really, I think this is really the core of most of our challenges, is really the mindset piece of this.
Right.
So it was getting out of my own way. It was really getting my head around because, when I started my business as a freelance copywriter, I had other copywriting friends, and I built a business like what all my friends did, which some of you might be doing the same thing. You build, what everybody else is building, and and you market it the same way. So the thing is that it was really hard. It was really difficult for me because I had to do something that I didn't see. So I was so you're so used to marketing yourself a certain way and building your business a certain way. So it was really relearning that and switching my mindset to, that it didn't have to be me, it could be my team, and really getting my head around that.
Right. So many people do challenge, that is, I think, the biggest challenge is our mindset in growing the business. And then once something clicks for you, then you can run for it. And that's whenever success happens really fast. Yeah. I know you talk about the love-based copywriting. And how is love-based copywriting different from traditional or fear-based copywriting?
Yeah, so basically, if you want to persuade anybody to take action, it doesn't matter what action you want them to take. It could be getting your kids to go to bed at a certain time. It doesn't have to be about, making a sale or taking money or any businessy thing. As humans, we live in a community. That's what we do. We're social creatures, and part of being social creatures means that we have, we do persuade people to. It's just part of the way we communicate, whether, like I said, getting your kids to go to bed at a certain bedtime or clean their room or have your spouse take you out to dinner at the restaurant you want. There's all sorts of ways that this kind of unfolds. So you can tap, in order to get people to take action, you need to tap into their emotions. And you can tap into their fear-based emotions or their love-based emotions. So fear-based emotions, obviously, all emotions are under one or the other. Fear-based emotions are obviously fear, anxiety, worry, grief, anger, shame, guilt, all of that, and resentment. And what happens is a lot of people,
the fear-based ones are like, if I'm correct, and is that it's like you have to have this or you're never going to succeed.
Exactly, that's shaming. Shaming's big with sales. Like, you obviously aren't serious about whatever because you're not jumping on board with this. So do you see how shaming that is? So tapping into that kind of shaming emotion, and that's really what it is. So it's like, in fear-based, I mean, it's traditional direct response copy and marketing and sales and all of that tends to tap more into that fear level versus tapping into the hope and transformation, and which is on the love-based side.
Okay. And even moving more, can you give us some examples of a love-based statement?
Sure. So if we go back to that shaming, so, one of them is like, if you aren't moving forward with me, clearly you're not serious. So there is a love-based way of saying that, which would be and this is an example from some friends of mine who were marketing a 10-month or a year-long program. It was about how to have a quantum leap in their business or their life. Actually, it wasn't even their business. And what they said is having a quantum leap is, that could mean that probably is going to mean that you are going to hit some dips along the way. And maybe this isn't your year to hit the dips. Maybe you've got other responsibilities and other things, in your life, and you can't afford to have those dips, and that is perfectly fine. So, so no worries. But if you are ready to have a quantum leap and you are ready to do what it takes and to go through whatever comes up, then, come on board, strap in, and let's do it. So do you see the differences in the energy and how, so it's more of it's acknowledging and then stepping back and letting people make the choice. That's really the difference.
Right. And they're making it because they want to exceed and excel.
Exactly.
Versus
yes.
you're afraid of not getting something.
Yes. You're educating and then letting them make the choice versus trying to impact or influence the choice, by tapping into their fear-based emotions and their fear of lack or whatever it is. So that's really the difference.
And I know I've heard a lot, especially with the age of the internet, that marketing today is two-way versus one-way. Years ago in media, newspaper, print, it was marketing.
Down. Yeah, one way or top down is another way they were saying this. Yeah, because they were pushing their message out to you, and there's really no way or very little way for the consumers to communicate back. So you're right, that is all different now.
So with that two-way communication, I'm sure the love-based works better even with the two-way communication. How can you do the two-way communication in your copywriting?
So one of the ways is to just be available. So I think it's, to communicate, there are people and some of them are still sort of doing it, but putting themselves kind of on a pedestal and separating themselves away. But really in this era of social networking and Twitter and Facebook, people always want to do business with people. They don't want to do business with some nameless, faceless thing. So that's always been the case. And now with the way the internet has kind of leveled the playing field, it's, people have more of an expectation of being able to, at least have some way of communicating with you. I mean, maybe they can't. Maybe you've turned off, like, if you're famous, you've probably turned off private messaging on Facebook. So that would be just really difficult. But, you could actually comment on their posts. You could retweet them. So there are ways that you can actually communicate to them. So they are available. So that's really, or, comment on their blog. So that's really the difference. And hiding yourself away or putting kind of like a moat between you, I mean, it's possible that, people can still do that, but people are craving more for that connection and that relationship. So and the internet gives you different ways that you can actually do that. So I think that's one of the ways is to use the copy, but then let yourself be accessible. Ask questions in your copy. And then see what people respond back to people, because it's the little things that can really make a big difference.
Right. And I know that copy is anything that you write. Some people think that whenever they think copy, it's only these long sales pages, but it's blog posts and your tweets and your Facebook copy. Everything is copy. And going to the blogs or your websites, I've heard a lot of people say, I sit there here and I write all these articles. I never get any comments. I'm not making any money from my website and I'm not getting any traffic. So what tips do you have for these folks?
Oh, wow. Okay. So first off, a very, very small percentage of the people who read your blog are going to comment. So like 0.5%. So, and maybe if you are famous, it goes up, but if you're not famous, it's not. So, so first off, if you don't have the readership, you're not going to get the comments. So just know that. And just because you don't have the comments doesn't mean anything. So know that too. So the comments aren't necessarily anything, that has to do with your success. So, but the other thing is that, there is a level of patience in this. And so I guess what the questions that I would ask is, how long have you had your blog up? How long have you been consistently posting on your blog? Are you posting things that your ideal prospects want to read? Are you looking into SEO? Are you marketing? Like, are you promoting the blog post on social networking? So there's so many variables. And the reality is that, blogs are still a really, really solid way to market yourself, but they take time. So, you can't put a blog up and expect in a couple of months it's going to be just, rocking it. It might take a couple of years, and it might be a couple of years of you posting and not seeing results. So, or not seeing visible results. And so I guess that's what, but there could be some other things too. Like if you're, if it's got the wrong angle, or you're writing about things that your ideal clients just simply don't care about, that can obviously impact things as well. So it's a combination of making sure that you've got the right foundation, and then you also are willing to put in the time and the energy to have the success happen.
I love that you said consistency, because that's always the key, is consistency. But I was surprised, and I know that you know this, that you didn't mention what I see in a lot of blogs is that they just simply don't even ask for that call to action. They don't at the end of the blog have, hey, share your thoughts, or if you enjoyed this article, let me know. Do you have any more tips to offer us? Something like that will, if getting the comments is what you're after, or even that's the other so there's that piece of it too. And it's more than just asking for tips. It's usually better if you ask like a direct question in there. And even with that, yes, I'm a big believer in call to actions, but even with that, again, if you don't have the number of people, you're not going to get the stuff. And for me, what I do with my blog is my call to actions, because commenting is fine, but I decided that I'm just not going to worry about the commenting. So my call to actions are more about joining the community, getting on my list. That's what I've really looked at. So looking at my books, taking another step forward. So I think one of the things is taking a step and thinking about what's the point of the blog. If the point of your blog is to get you sales, do you need to ask for comments? Right. I don't know. Having a blog that's got comments isn't necessarily going to lead to sales. So you may want to look at inviting them to get on your email list, and then you can send them emails, which might be a faster way to get to your end result. I know part of the commenting, what I like, because I don't go after them. It's not my main goal, but it is one of my little goals. And one of the main reasons why I like the comments is simply every time somebody makes a comment on your blog, it actually pings your SEO. This is very true too. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, there are good things about commenting. So I'm not trying to diss the commenting, but yeah. And I knew you wasn't. I was just saying that's, there's different goals, and every blog post that you write does not have to have the same goals. Some is towards
There's another huge, I mean, we can go into this, it's because there's also, it depends on the blog topic. This is something else that was sort of interesting. Like if you write an authoritative blog that's like 3 tips to do whatever, you are far less likely to get comments than if you write a blog post that's more about, your opinion. Or so there's actually, so that's the thing. So, I mean, it's a completely different strategy. You might want to do something that's more like, future trends or your opinion, or tell a story, something a little softer. That's actually a better way to get comments. But like those authoritative type, like 3 tips to do this, it's actually, even the 0.5%, it's really
right.
People don't, even if you say at the end, like, I'd love to hear your tips, that's not, because it's like an authoritative, so it's almost like a teacher and a student relationship. So then they don't always feel like they don't feel comfortable leaving comments. So yeah, I think yeah, there's a lot there's a lot to kind of think about with the whole commenting.
It makes a lot of sense. Yes, thank you very, very much. And I know once you start becoming more successful, we all face it. We start getting those ugly, ugly, nasty people, or they say hateful things. And so what's your best tip to deal with these haters that you are going to face?
So I actually have I actually did a podcast, and I did a blog post about this too.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So this is, it gets tough. And so first off, be gentle with yourself. Eventually, if you continue on this road, it won't bother you as much. Because what I can say is it doesn't really bother me now anymore. But that's because I felt I moved through it. Because I've realized that, and that's the thing, this is the kind of stuff I can say, but it's like, just because you say it and it makes sense doesn't mean you're going to feel it. But, what other people think of you is really none of your business. And And it really isn't. And, they're going to leave. Like I've gotten some incredibly nasty reviews on my books. And, oh, well, I guess it wasn't for them. And people just do strange things. Like I had one guy gave me a bad review on one of my books, and then he actually bought a second book and gave me an even worse review. And it was just like, I remember reading this and going, and I actually, the second review was so bad, I had somebody actually defend me on it, and so there were some comments back and forth, and I'm thinking, why would you waste your time and money buying another one of my books if you didn't like the first one? So, but it's just this whole puzzling thing. You have to feel your feelings. If you get these bad reviews and they tear you up inside, please don't worry about being logical, or you need to actually feel the feelings. Once you've felt your feelings and you're no longer triggered by it, it will all move away. So let yourself have a good cry. Let yourself go punch something out. Let yourself feel as bad as you need to be, as you need to feel about this. And if you do that, then you'll lose that sort of emotional trigger with it.
Right. And
then it'll be easier for, the next time it happens, you will be just kind of like, whatever. So, but that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. And it's not arguing with the people. I know whenever I first became a divorce coach, I had this long PM with this gentleman that just said I was a horrible person for promoting divorce, even though I wasn't promoting it. I wasn't telling people to get a divorce, but it's reality. There's a lot of people that get a divorce, and it's a tough situation to go through. But it was really big on me. But then I decided he's not my ideal client. He's not the person I'm here to serve. And so I let it go. I did feel my feelings. But then after you feel your feelings, and whenever you start getting all your thank you notes, I find it's like I'll feel my feelings and then I'll read all of these thank yous from the clients that I have served, because that's it lifts you back up and puts you in a better mindset to continue with your business, because the people you're meant to serve are going to be drawn to you, and they're going to love what you do.
Exactly. And I love that. And that's a great order, because feeling your feelings and then reading it, because if you try to read the gratitude and the thank yous before you felt the feelings, you might dismiss them.
Right.
So at least that's what I would do. So I'd be like, well, that doesn't go well, So it's, I think, so yes. So taking care of yourself, feel your feelings. I also like to exercise after you've done that, just kind of move things through, and then absolutely go back and read your reviews and the thank yous and all the people who love you, because there's plenty of them out there, and haters are going to hate.
Right. And I it's funny because I go, we all want to be liked by everybody, which is sort of interesting. And I always say, you take the two best singers ever, the two most famous singers ever, Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley, and how many haters did each of those men have?
Exactly.
And look how famous and successful they were. So,
right.
Now, can you share a business strategy that our listeners can implement in 15 minutes or less in order to grow their business?
So I think taking consistent steps each day. And I would say if you can spend 15 minutes a day on your marketing or less, that right there will be good. And you're going to say marketing, that's a big thing. Well, that's because, you need to choose what you're going to do. And so some things would include, writing an email to your list. A good thing. If you're going to do, you have to have some sort of lead generation. So like if that's your blog, if it's writing content, podcasts, videos, going on Facebook, not just going on Facebook to waste time, but Facebook to be a little more strategic. Figure out what your favorite marketing tactic is that you want to use to bring, and then spend 15 minutes a day or less on that. Because if you do that, I guarantee that you will see results. So again, it's the consistent actions that you take every day to market yourself. That's going to make the biggest transformation for you.
Right. I love that. Thank you very much for sharing that. And I know that you have a wonderful gift for our community. So can you share a little bit about what that is?
Yes. So it's the Lovebased copy template, and it's free. It does go with what my, one of my Lovebased copywriting books, but you don't have to have it. The template will stand in its own, and it's kind of like how we started when we talked about the copy. This kind of goes into it a little deeper, so that you can actually start writing copy and selling with love, really tapping into that and selling more with love.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I love that about you, is the whole love concept, because everybody, that's what we want. We want to be loved and accepted where we are right now. And so with your love-based techniques, that's exactly what you do. You reach out through your writing and you love and accept people exactly where they are, to help them grow versus coming at it from the fear earlier. So and I really highly recommend all of Michelle's programs. I have all of her books. I've read them all and I've utilized them. To get the Lovebased copywriting template, you can visit bizsuccessin15.com, and you'll also be able to re-listen to today's show for any golden nuggets that you might have missed. And Michelle, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
Be patient with yourself, because, I know it's really easy to do, but trying to compare yourself to other people, like other entrepreneurs or other business owners, and they're like, well, they're farther along, or they're this, or that. I mean, you don't know. First off, you don't really know if they are farther along. They could just be talking a good game. And the other thing is, and you don't know how they got there. You don't know how long they've been doing it. You don't know the team that they've got. You don't know the support they've got. You don't know. So while I've done it too, so I get it, comparing yourself is easy. It's not helpful. And wherever you're at in your journey right now is exactly right. And just be patient with yourself. If you keep taking that 15 minutes action, whatever it is, every single day, even 15 minutes to write a book, like if you want to finish a book, write for 15 minutes a day. Whatever you're going to carve out your time in 15 minutes, if you keep taking those steps, it will happen.
I love that. Thank you very much. A great, great, great parting words. Just don't compare yourself and love yourself. I want to remind our listeners, if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to share it with your friends, and hop on over to Biz Success in 15 so you can re-listen to today's show, as well as catch up on past episodes from other top experts. And be sure to download the Lovebased copywriting template, and any links from today's show will also be posted on the site. And so with that, I'd like to say big hugs, and be sure to tune in next week to Biz Success in 15.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.